Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Block 9 Podcast Live Lounge. Oh, evening, everybody. Well. That was a tough one, wasn't it? So, all right, Green Army and fellow football fans. Yes, it was a hard one to stomach that after Wednesday, but we're here to gather and unpack the midweek misery against Swansea City. The mood is heavy after such a crushing defeat, looking down the barrel of that relegation even more than ever. But Ryan Hardy's heroics against Norwich, feel like a distant memory now as the Greens' survival hopes took a brutal hit at the Swansea.com stadium. So is this the end of the line on our road in the championship campaign? Or can we still find a flicker of hope in the fight to stay up? Well, ladies and gentlemen, Andy still thinks so. Yeah. So let's dive into the heartbreak and search for answers. I'll give you a clue. There isn't any, and we've just got to write that game off. So, evening, gents. Herbie, Andy, and Carl join us tonight. Gavin is unable to make it tonight. So how are we doing, Herbie? How's you went to the game, so I feel your pain even more.
The drive home wasn't great, and there was a lot of talking with people about, are we still going to do it? Have we still got a chance? But I think the main thing was that we haven't, and we've just got to play the rest of the season with pride. Not try and get the gap to a little bit better, but just try not to be absolutely rock bottom of the league and not being battered in our last 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Andy, as I alluded to there in my intro, I'm always Mr. Positive. I still think, there's an opportunity if we beat Sheffield United, not an easy one on Saturday. Could it suddenly the mood switch again? I am accepting that. I'm not. If we go down, that is what it is now. But you've suddenly gone from absolutely fed up in our group chat after that game and during it to now thinking, hang on a minute, there is still a chance.
Do you know, while my bottom faces south, right, I will still sort of try to back the boys as much as I can and get the flack for it as well. And I will get flack for it. But we win Saturday, right? We've got a chance. We've got to go to Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough haven't been too good at home recently. Could do something up there. We don't know. I mean, they probably let us down again. But, while there's still a chance, while it's still mathematically got a chance, I'm still going to back them. I might be mad. It might be the serotonin, making me happy, or the blow to the head that I received from the rolling pin.
Well, you were certainly winding people up on X, weren't you, during and after the game?
Yeah, but I was in a way, but I sort of knew they were going to get their reaction like that. I knew there's going to be a massive reaction, negative reaction from certain people. I won't mention any names because I don't want to,
It's not like Andy to wind people up, is it?
I never do. I never wind people up. But I do genuinely believe that while we've still got a chance to get points, and I know it's a very, very slim chance, but we still got a chance. That's still a chance to me.
I think Carl, there's still a number of games to play, isn't there? Is it 5 games? The way that this league, all the results went for us as well. Well, not all of them in that sense, but the results went in our favour on Tuesday night. And I think, did that pressure then hit the players again thinking, oh no, we've really now, there's that expectation. But while this league is like it is, and as we've seen, the top half of, suffered, in that, with the likes of Burnley not beating Derby, with Sheffield United losing to Oxford, it's 2 games on the bounce now they've lost. Could Saturday tomorrow be a third? Yeah, what were you thinking after all that then on Wednesday?
It's no surprise. We've seen that in the last few years in the Championship, kind of, the last 5 or 6 games, teams at the top start wobbling, teams at the bottom start winning, and it's happening yet again. I was just so disappointed. So I kind of expected us to go up there and show the fight and the passion that we've shown in the last few weeks, to really take advantage and beat Swansea and be in with a real shout of staying up, going into Saturday's game. And we just didn't turn up from minute 1. But then that's happened so many times this season. We've gone away and had a good battering, and we didn't look like getting back into it at any point. But I don't know if he had many shots on target. I can't remember any. And Connor Hazard kept it respectful, because otherwise it could have been another 5 or a 6. And yeah, massively disappointing. None of them showed any fight, wanting to drag us out from where we are, and yeah, really, really disappointing. And like Andy said, yes, there's still a mathematical chance, and don't get me wrong, if we do end up beating Sheffield United tomorrow, which I wouldn't put it past us. Sheffield United have been in awful form the last few weeks. We didn't think we'd beat Norwich, and we did. So yeah, it's possible. If we beat Sheffield United, some of the results again go for us, then we're still potentially, well, it'd be 2 points plus goal difference, so 3 points with 4 to go. So yeah, it's still possible.
It's
but I think
damage, wasn't it, on Wednesday? The limited damage at the point the teams around us only got like a point, each. Yes, but it's only a point further rather than 3 points further away. But that makes it a difference.
I did think it's the final nail on Wednesday, but I think if we do lose tomorrow, I think that is good night, Irene.
Yeah.
The final nail is generally for me, when you mathematically can't do it, and because I think this league is so up and down. Steve, who's managed to get in now after his technical issues, go on, give us a brief outline of how you were feeling. I mean, we all know in our group chat, but give us your side of it as well.
Totally dejected from the other day, but we fight to live another day on this Saturday coming. It's another fresh start. Concerned about the injuries coming up as well, but we just had no warmth the other night. It's like they didn't want to be there.
Yeah,
they were just going through the motions, and every single player didn't put a lackluster performance in.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Before I go to our news segment to bring you the Argyle news, I'm just going to just give a few shout outs. Ninja Matt's in tonight. Evening, Matt, good to see you. Pilgrim PT, who's in as well. Evening, boys. He said always going to get a negative reaction, especially from that performance. Absolutely. I'm a bit sort of unsure of how many people will attend tonight because it is super tough. After a defeat. Also, Pete did notice, and I sort of would assume it came from us, but your question, which we'll pull up later on JB, and would we sign him for 1 million? We did discuss that the other day. And
I think that was my point, wasn't it?
To read out your stats, yeah. Sarah as well. So evening to you, Sarah. Mason Palmer, to welcome on, and Marcus, who joins us in the chat. Marcus, it's good to see you in the comments, and hope you're well. So Marcus is saying Rands and JB are terrible together. Rands is better when Houghton is alongside him. JB is better as an impact player, and should Roberts even have had some more game time this season. So we'll come on to that. But first,
it's time for the latest Plymouth Argyle news, brought to you by the Block.
See, the bloody things don't finish properly, but there you go. You don't pay me enough to sort out
technology
bugs like that. For you. Yeah. I got a bit. Don't pay me at all. But no, do it for the love and the fun. So just there's after that defeat, and we're sat here on our show, and then we have to go through some more negative news that came out of the press conference today. And it's sad to report Sorinola is now out for the rest of the season. A muscle injury that Muslich said will keep him out for the rest of the season. That's a massive shame. He's been a huge player, for us since Rooney and that left, and getting that chance to come in and make a stake for his position. And also Katic, out with a hamstring. Now, Music said that he may well come back in the latter sort of couple of games. He had been complaining about his hamstring since City. So, when you look at Sorinola and Katic and the amount of work and effort and minutes and all that stuff that they've done, sort of since the start of the year has been immense. So to sort of go this long without any major injuries is pretty impressive. But it's a shame because we don't want any other players to get injured. Pleggy has a dead leg. I sort of sense that may rule him out of tomorrow, which then makes the lineups challenging. We'll come on to that later when we go to review that game. But there is some positive news, and that is Maxi is going to be back probably for the last 2, maybe even 3 games. So his recovery from his knee injury has gone a lot better. And look, do you know what? We could still be in with a shout by the time Maxi comes back into the fold. You know, it's only a couple of games before that can happen, but it's still really good news to see him getting back to full health. So that's sort of a bit on the news. So as we go to the group shot. So we're sort of sat there. I felt quite confident on Wednesday. You know, the whole sort of day, I felt really good. The results going our way, and then the sort of game starts, and sort of Andy, I'll come to you first. But as I sort of started to pit it recently, did Swansea muse-liched us? They high pressed us? They pressed us quite hard throughout the game, forced us into errors, got that all-important first early goal, and then the collapse. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't great from the moment the whistle went, was it?
No, it wasn't really. We didn't get on the offensive at all, did we? And they were using that diagonal ball from right to left, left to right, and exposing Mumba's weakness. I mean, Mumba was weak for a couple of their goals. Certainly, when he sort of dived in rather than sort of stand his ground to let the guy get across it, it's like, what are you doing there? And then giving away needless free kicks. We put too much pressure on ourselves, and it all came from that sort of right back channel where Mumba was operating. Sadly, it wasn't good. It wasn't good, and we just shot ourselves in the foot, giving away a free kick, the goal coming from the free kick, and then that wonder strike. Hate to say it, Josh Key, a former Exeter guy, absolute wonder strike. It was good. It was a cracking goal. And that killed us off. And I think it was game over at 1-0 because the heads just dropped and everyone was sort of looking at each other thinking, come on, are we in the game here or what?
Yeah.
So wasn't good.
He did unlock the defence quite a few times, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Key.
Yeah, Key was very good.
Come on.
He's getting my jokes now, Carl is.
He had you good and proper there.
Yeah,
I mean, Carl, for me, I tried I did. I didn't say tried. I just sat in front of my computer here and I watched the first few goals back. Don't ask me why, folks. But I was when I'm in the game, I get quite pent up in terms of emotion of wanting us to do well. That sometimes I get a bit blurry and I'm just sort of not focusing on too much going on. But the one thing I do remember is, it was early in the game. It was a good few minutes before the first goal, but we'd won a free kick just out by the halfway line. And Mumba steps up to take it. There's no pressure. It's not like we've got an attack going on or anything like that. And he literally hits it so soft and it just goes straight to a Swansea player and leads to a bit of an attack. And you sort of sat there going, what on earth was that? And it did just set the tone from that. I mean, we couldn't find a pass. Sort of players were getting closed out and closed down, and it was just like, wow, what is going on here?
Yeah, like you said, it set the tone. I don't understand what Mumba was doing. Did he even look up to look like he was going to pass to another green shirt? Normally, in those kind of areas of the pitch, we lump it forward, don't we? Long free kicks and stuff, but played it short, didn't look, and shocking play. I don't think Mumba had his best game, which is a surprise because he's been quite good of late. Kind of back to his best, but he was shocking. But then all of them were shocking on Wednesday night.
Carl, I was just going to say, I think it's fair to probably caveat that when we've gone a goal down, not in every single case, but in most cases, we've tended to have a collapse, and then every player seems to struggle.
Oh yeah. So we've seen it enough times.
Yeah,
seen it enough times. And like I said earlier, Hazard kept it respectful because God knows what the scoreline would have been if he didn't come up with some good saves. And he was obviously critical with his own performance in the press conference today regarding the 40-yarder. He was anticipating a cross, and it wasn't. It was a shot, and he just couldn't get back in time. But anyway, the strike was brilliant. Regardless, I think he's been a bit harsh on himself with that one. But
it's one of probably a contender for goal of the season.
Yeah, and the dip on it was incredible.
The Premiership, right? And that is a goal of the season contender in the Premiership, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt's just said there in the comments, small squad, loads of games, secondary players being big drop-offs, injuries always bound to happen at this stage of the season, unfortunately. Yeah, I think with the commitment and, just listening to Muslich say about Katic, playing with a sort of bit of a sore hamstring, it's just testament to the guys, sort of desire to want to actually help us stay up and stay in this league. So I think that's
we saw him
impressive.
looking around, didn't we? Sort of asking the question, "Are you going to do something to help me here?" He seems to be doing a lot on his own, and I think Zooks looked a bit out of place, and it just looked disjointed at the back, didn't it? Mumba looked
It was
out of
it was
place.
awful, yeah. And we were looking for negatives, and we kept seeing them everywhere.
Yeah.
Marcus has commented on the Mumba situation. Mumba isn't good enough as wing back in the Championship. No, I mean he got clean taken past by forget the player's name now. That put the ball in for the wonderful header. In fairness, what else have we got here? Sarah Mason Palmer. Time to give up trying Rands and JB together from the start.
Oh, God,
Hasn't worked most of the season. Certainly ain't recently. We'll come on to that in a minute.
Yeah,
Voodoo's put a comment saying, "Please don't mention." Thank you.
yeah, sorry,
So
Voodoo. Yeah, it's a swear word.
quickly show that.
Get me banned from it.
Yeah, just a couple more. I'll pick these up while they're there. Marcus again. Andy, think positive. We have a brilliant infrastructure, and Ben Waine will be back next season.
Ben Waine will be top scorer next season. Mark my words.
Absolutely not. Matt, as I said again, probably thought we were playing in our away kit. Oh God,
Yeah.
See, that's interesting, that, because I remember Martin Ingham talking about wearing the green away from home. So it just proves that we did it a couple of times away from home. We played well with it, but last night Wednesday night it was just awful.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Poor
Just before sorry, go on, Steve.
Poor combinations.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, when you start off so badly, everything goes out the window. It's that mental situation that we've said many a times before. I do have, and I will bring it up in a second, just when I come to Herbie next, the Argyle analysis that Charlie Price and Aaron Cusack do, and there's the free 8-minute clip on YouTube, and I'm just going to show up just to sort of bring some context to the game because we all really want to see that again. But Herbie, you travelled up there. How many away fans went to the game?
Was it 1,100? I think just over 1,100.
Yeah, so it's just you go away, and on the back of the Watford away, decent game, good result in the end. Beating Norwich and playing really well, and you're thinking to yourself on the way up, yeah, I'm really positive for this one. It's going to be a good result, and then you straight away get faced with that. I mean, you must have been tempted to walk out at halftime.
Yeah, well, but to be fair, this season I've seen it quite a lot. It's not a new thing this season, but yeah, we were there, and from minute one, it just felt quite just heartless from the players, and it was horrible to watch at some points, and especially when it's like 1 goal and 2 goal. Even when we were 2-0 down, you think, maybe we can get into it. Like we weren't playing awful after the second goal. Like we were gaining something, and if we get 1 goal, make it 2-1, we make it interesting, and anything can happen. Like we did it against Derby a few years ago when we were 2-0 down. We did it against Preston this season. Like we are quite renowned for coming back, and then after the third goal, it completely capitulated, just couldn't string just the basics of the game.
Yeah. There was one pass late in the second half. I mean, there was a spurt at the start of the second half, but there was one pass that just said it all when Bundu, under no pressure by the touchline, went to pass it. Forgive me, I can't remember who it was meant to go to, and he literally just passed it out for a throw-in. And it's just the real simple things like that you just sat there watching, going, that is unforgivable.
It's also those simple things that it's nothing to do with Muslich. There is nothing that he can do that can get the player to pass at 6 yards or spray a pass wide or be more gritful in a tackle or track back. Like that's out of his control. He can only set up in a certain way and get the players up for it. So there were lots of people on Twitter like having a go at him, and there were lots of people on Twitter saying, if we go down to League One, do we keep him or do we get rid of him? And I think that's stupid to think, because I think
they all came out. They were all hiding away when we beat Norwich, and then they all came out.
Came out from under the rocks, didn't they? Yeah.
After that, yeah. So I'm just going to go. So I'm going to go to this video clip. So it will have the audio with it as well, because I think it's Aaron Cusack hits it brilliantly. And then what I'll do is I'll pause between each section.
It was 3-0,
and
give
a
it was
view.
1-0 after
roll
4
that.
minutes. Swansea kind of just took the game away from Argyle in the first half, didn't they?
They did. It was that kind of opening spell, and they came out on the front foot. And the first goal by O'Brien in that first 4 or 5 minutes,
Rand's on the ball,
set the tone for
and then
the rest
loses
of the
it.
evening. And Swansea just looked hungrier. They were a lot more aggressive in 1v1 moments. This ball coming in from Ronaldo is a great ball in. It's a real clinical header. And we've got kind of a wide-angle view here. So there are a couple of things that
great
they'll look
header.
back on. We've got O'Brien circled. He's the goal scorer. So he's out of the eye line of Randall at the minute. On another day, Randall recognises where the immediate threat might be. So his recovery run gets him goal side. But he's attracted to the ball. And as the ball then kind of gets played in a 1v1 moment, Sorinola's got a compromised position. So he's in a 2v1 moment here. He's got no support. So he's going to keep his shape, but as the ball comes in, this is not aimed at Matty Sorinola at all, but which one of the two is the most dangerous? Well, you'd have to think O'Brien is, because he's coming in at the heart of that red zone, upon which Sorinola on another day, emergency defending would go towards that central area.
It was just too easy, wasn't it? That, and I think, sort of, I don't know, you felt, I don't like to sort of single out players, but in that game, it was hard to, because Randall had an absolutely superb game against Norwich, got in the EFL Championship Team of the Week, and then comes to a game like that where he just seemed to absolutely just lose it, I don't know what anything you would add to that, Andy. That first one.
Not really. No, we just got exposed there, didn't we? Again, giving the ball away too cheaply. How many times have we heard that Argyle are giving the ball away? Argyle are giving the ball away. It's too many times this season, especially in key areas or defensive areas. Houghton's been guilty of it. Randall's been guilty of it. Mumba's been guilty of it. We've got to become less lackadaisical and try to find these 5-yard passes. It's straightforward 5-yard pass. We're trying to be too technical. Trying to be too. I
just think Swansea, and Aaron says it himself, might come up in a second, but just absolutely wanted it more. But straight from the whistle, wanted it more and came right at us. And Voodoo just saying here, goal number 1 on Mumba. But
he didn't seem to track back that quickly, did he? He just didn't seem to want to kind of get that tackle and force him wide. He just let him just run past him. Didn't even attempt to stop the ball going in.
Randall made them. Randall didn't deal with the ball when he took it and got caught on it, and then that led to the player going past. Mumba, who struggles to defend like that at times, so there was two.
But that was 1-0, and then the second goal. This is a real disappointing scenario. In this, hindsight's a wonderful thing, Charlie. But in this moment here, Pleguezuelo should take responsibility, simply because.
I'm just going to pause it a second. Randall's one of those that when he realises or feels he's made a mistake, and may well have thought that with losing the ball that led to that first goal, he just seems to overdo it. Like he needs to compensate for it and make up for the mistake, and I absolutely
makes another one.
Yeah, whereas Aaron describes this perfectly in terms of, Pleggy could have dealt with that ball. You'll see it. I'll let it run because
he's got the ascendancy to step forward. Really well. Randall should act as a block for where the immediate pressure is coming from, and then Pleguezuelo would be able to take it off the line of the nearest Swansea press. But as it happens, Randall took responsibility, and then obviously this bit led to, a little bit of a catastrophe where he gave away the free kick, and then from the resultant ball in.
So this again, frustration. He's obviously put in a hard tackle. He had enough chances to either give that back to Hazard or let Pleggy deal with it, as Cusack mentions. And then something I didn't pick up, actually, I noticed the goal scorer being left unmarked, but it was what they did to Katic that Cusack has picked up on, which I thought was brilliant.
A really good ball, is it, Darling, with the header in the kind of middle area of the goal. But Joe Allen does something really clever here, Charlie. He recognised that Katic is the best header of the ball. He just blocks his run. So he just stops him from running. And then Darling's just kind of got the blind side of Bundu, and he's able to glance it in.
So identifying obviously one of our strengths with Katic, with clearing the balls in the box, and obviously then dealing with that to allow the ball to come in far enough for them to score the header. Poor marking, really. The guy shouldn't have been given that much freedom to head it in, on the 6-yard line.
And then the third goal,
that's what it is.
On another day,
that one.
Sorinola, I know he wants to set the ball back. So if Randall drops below the ball and you set it back, it invites a better pass. Obviously, it's a misplaced pass. These players aren't taught to pass square. And then it's worked out to Josh Key, and he's hit one from 30 yards where he saw Connor Hazard off his line, and what a finish. And that was game, set, match, wasn't it? And, it kind of just epitomised the real disappointment.
That goal, and obviously, yes, from an ex-Exeter player, it's always... sorry, Voodoo, slip of the tongue.
You've done it now.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
We're going to get complaints on X tonight, mate, you know that.
Yeah, so in Hazard's press conference, Carl just alluded to earlier that he took most of the flack himself for that goal, but they're just the freaky type of goals. I mean, to take a shot from there is just cheeky as hell anyway, and then to see it dip in, is just that absolutely just said everything about how it was going for Argyle on Wednesday.
I just wish we had a player capable of doing a shot like that. If we've got no creativity for anyone to hit a shot like that, or no way.
We used to have one. He was called Graham Carey.
He was, yeah.
That
was our last one.
30 yards. And
Azaz would pick one out from that distance as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so go and watch it, guys. You get the 8-minute segment. I won't play the rest of it there for now, but he does go and show how Swansea pressed us really hard. There's spells where Sorinola had the ball and there was 3 or 4 Swansea players around him and closed down. They didn't give us any breathing space at all. And a bit like what Music wants us to do. So I think what would be interesting tomorrow to see. When we come on to that later, if Sheffield United try and do something similar or just get on with their own game, and will Argyle end up playing and faring better against a better side? We shall see. Just some of the comments coming in on that. Voodoo just clarifying why he felt that goal, first one was on Mumba, on his heels, got beat too easily. He does sometimes. He's not really the greatest.
I'm surprised you didn't use his clip, Mike, Voodoo, on X, the one he put up with Peggy and Randall, the boing, boing, boing.
I didn't. To be fair, I didn't play I did see the little clips, and I do appreciate.
I think that would have been more fitting.
I'll see if I can find that and see if the sound will play through in a minute. Won't be hard to find. But yeah, do always like. He's definitely, and also he's jumped on the packaging trend that is just now. My Insta and all that lot is full of the makeshift. Turn yourself into an action hero. Sarah Mason Palmer, it amazes me how bad we are at pressing. Seems to be we can't pass to our own, and that's the thing. But then on Saturday against Norwich, we got that first goal. Every opportunity we had, we scored. So it's just not every opportunity, but 2 out of the 4. But it just goes to show how it can just crumble. And that's why sometimes you just have to write those games off because they are just a mess of everything. Marcus in the comments, beginning of the season, Soups was good and calm in passing. Now he can't even pass 5 yards, but Marcus, no one could pass to anybody 5 yards or 50 yards. Voodoo, again, by the way, their goal scorer didn't have a hand on him from the free kick from the moment he entered the box. And one more from Marcus. We missed Maxi in the box at both ends. Did we get the ball in? I think the only one really good opportunity in the first half. And Herbie, obviously you would have seen this one, but that Obafemi running forward, and you're like, pass it to Hardy, pass it to Hardy, pass it to Hardy. And I think, because he's an ex-Swansea player, I think he wanted the glory of trying to score the goal, get a goal for us. But that's the sort of decision-making when in a game like that, it just, no one's thinking right, and he just decided to try and do it himself, and he didn't even get a shot on target.
But don't you think if that was Callum Wright, he would have probably done the same thing? He would have ended up losing the ball like he tends to do as well. We've got no one in that area that can do a defence splitting pass.
Yeah, well, you saw it with Beidou at Watford. Just didn't pass it.
Yeah.
Saw it with TJ, just couldn't get that final pass. Yeah, and just when you're away from home like that, and you're playing against a team that are playing better than you at the time, and you do well enough to actually get yourself on the attack, you've got to take it, and you have to even not take it, but just at least get a shot on target, or at least make a chance out of it. Like Obafemi's down, we got a free kick, and Randall stepped up because he knew. He said, "Right, I know I can get this on target," and he did, and it's a wonderful save from the keeper because he knew that was one of our very few chances that we'd get. So he went and took it, and then the same with Obafemi running down the line. If he squares that across, we have a shot on goal. It might go in, might not, but we create a chance. Yeah, and it just sort of, even if you create those sort of chances, it warms yourself into the game. You progress a bit better, you get a bit more confidence in playing. But yeah, it just
as soon as that third goal went in, that was it. Sadly, if you could get through to half time, 2 down. Obviously, he rang a few changes. You would be hopeful then of getting back into it in some way. I'm just going to bring up the FOTMob player ratings. I mean, it should just say crap across that right hand side. No,
harsh.
Yeah, well, it was, but look, any players that are watching, I think all of them know, and it's just like, that wasn't good enough. We have seen it, sadly, as I said earlier, too many times. For me personally, like, my reaction in our group chat was sort of, I'm livid, because like the game could have given us a really good opportunity. Muslic, I'll touch upon the press conference in a second, raised it in there. It was a fantastic opportunity for us to really get back into it. And they'll all know it, but it was just sort of feeling let down as well, really, off the back, especially because of the season that we've had. That was just sort of, this morning for me, I woke up as well, still a little bit, angry with it, or yesterday, sorry, but I had my son's birthday, so that was a good distraction. But yeah, player ratings, and there's a big debate, talking point. Sarah mentioned it earlier. The Randall JB situation. Now, won't stake claim to this. Steve was listening to the Argyle Life show that they went out last night, and the stat of, if I'm correct, Steve, well, do you want to read it out, or say what they picked up?
Well, I've been doing some digging today as well,
okay.
Right? The last time JB and Randall appeared in the winning side was against Blackburn at the beginning of October.
Oh, wow. So this was the point that was made on their show last night, was that we hadn't won with JB and Randall starting a game. So the last, so what you're saying is we did, but that was that long ago, yeah? And they both started, yeah?
Yeah. And another stat is the last time Jordan Houghton appeared in the losing side for Argyle was against Leeds away. And Houghton and Randall last appeared in the losing side was at Stoke back in August.
Right, okay, so you got the Leeds game where Sissoko got his red card. Didn't Edwards pick up his hamstring injury in that one?
That
or
was
just after that one?
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Remember the one before the Pompey game? He sort of rested half a side, didn't he?
So, so it's an interesting one. We discussed, as I'll just try and see if I can bring it up, actually. Pilgrim Peter, you actually just said himself in the comments, that was our 9th game of season where we've lost by 3 or more goals. I think just actually, Pete, I'll read out a couple of your posts, if that's all right with you. So games under Rooney, 23 games, 4 wins, 6 draws, 13 defeats. Goals scored 22, goals conceded 51. Under Muslic, we've had 16 games, 4 wins, 5 draws, 7 defeats. With goals scored 18 and conceded 28, just as a bit of a comparison. But the post that he put out earlier, I didn't think, I thought I answered it myself, but I did on the Block 9. But it was a question, heard this on a recent podcast. This one, and you can mention it, I'm sure, unless you did hear it elsewhere. But I know we did discuss it. He said it would be interesting to see what other people think. If we had the opportunity to sign JB for $1 million in the summer, would you sign him? Pete, he said personally, I wouldn't have him back next season. We discussed it, and actually, as an England under 21 player, he's clearly got some ability and skill set there. He's played a huge amount of minutes for us in games where, sort of with Rooney in, and it's been shocking. And obviously he's been involved in some of the games where we've done well. It's an interesting one. I personally, I know Gavin agreed, and I think a few of us did. If I'm wrong, then one of you put your hands up if you wouldn't sign him. I'll go through you in a second. Yeah, I'll come to you in a minute. I think there is potential then. I think in League One, then we've got a difference there. I think in some of these games, when we lost Hardy, etc., that didn't help. So you got that sort of lack of ability to play it up the field. What JB likes to do, and that was clear against Norwich, is come in and sort of drive that ball forward, and he did that superbly. When he come on as a substitute, but 82%, and there is a decent amount of votes. 347 so far said they would absolutely not sign him up. So I think hang on a minute. And Ninja Matt has just said about Petey. Pilgrim Pete came up with a great statistic on X yesterday. I think about the points when he got compared to Moon. Yeah, that's what I've just gone through. So Andy, you said you wouldn't sign him. I can't remember now what we actually discussed at detail, but go on, fire away.
No, I wouldn't, mate, because you're going to have the same scenario next season in League One, aren't you? You're going to have JB and Rando together. I've got a feeling that Houghton could be off in the summer. And so that pairing of Houghton and Rando is going to be split up. I wouldn't have JB in there, to be fair, because they just don't gel well together. They don't seem to play well together. We've seen that. We've seen the stats on that. And Steve will probably bring up a few stats on that. But no, I wouldn't. I think Leeds I've got some sort of clause in that he has to play, for Argyle. So that's probably why he's getting all the game time.
Because I brought that question up earlier, didn't I? Earlier in our chat. Because I reckon, if he doesn't come on, we got to pay a fee. I'm not. Yeah. Don't quote me on this, but because like some clubs have clauses in their contracts, if he doesn't start, but you have to pay like an appearance fee or something like that.
So I can tell you with Ashley Phillips last season, he was under the loan contract that if we didn't play him, we had to pay his full wage. And so he was, the club kept persevering and playing with him because they didn't want to pay the wage. From what I think it was Gavin who told me this, but from what we understand, it was Neil and Nance that rested him when they took charge after Foster, because the guy literally, especially after that Leeds FA Cup replay, etc., he was just done, and you could see that. But this is where, yes, you've got to be a bit sensible. Yeah, of course he would have been on 10 grand or whatever it was, or more a week, but at the end of the day, he's no good to you if he's on the pitch and he's just got no ounce of energy left in him. It's going to cause you more problems than good. This
is why we brought Boateng in, Mike, because I think Boateng next season, I think even Muslic maybe resigned to League One now. Boateng next season in League One will probably be a lot more of a proposition than JB.
Yeah, so exactly. I mean, as Voodoo said, and that's what I was alluding to. If he doesn't come on, we have to pay a fee, and it may well be his full wage. So
here's another stat.
Say again.
We've had 8 or 9 batterings this season, and JB and Rando have been involved in 5 of them.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. But again, there's part of me that says you've had the injuries up front to deal with, like with Hardy, etc. there, which I think doesn't help. But it's not good. So either way, it's not good. So, sort of, Andy, you said you wouldn't take him. Herbie, you put your hand up as well.
Yeah.
What would make you not stick with JB if there was an option on him for next season?
I just don't think he suits Muslic at all, and I actually think this might be controversial. I quite liked JB under Rooney because I think Rooney really got him to play. I noticed because we were playing out from backwards, so we had Grimshaw in goal. A lot of the times we'd have 2 defenders and they'd split apart, and either JB or Randall would come in as a midfielder, and play on the half turn. And actually, JB on the half turn, I thought he was quite good. He was quite good at getting us forward, but in the way Music wants to play, obviously he doesn't want to play that way. And when Hazard puts it long, and we need a midfield that can win headers and be physical, he's not that. And I think on the ball, he's actually all right. Maybe maybe he's quite technical, but obviously he's still young. He needs to develop that. But I think in League One, he's just not Music's player. But I definitely think JB. I mean, if Leeds go up, he'll just be rotting in there on the bench, so he won't play. So he could very easily go to another Championship side where his role isn't to be physical, isn't to hold a whole midfield. He might play in a midfield 3 where he's got 2 of the midfielders helping him, and he can play more as an 8 and just try and get them forward and be more technical with them.
Yeah, I mean, there's talent there. I can see talent within him, and it reminds me a little bit when we had Alfred Devine and we had Phillips, and those loan signings from Spurs, and you think, there's something there in this player. But it just
you don't get into the England under 21s or the England any guys, do you?
But it's as Herb says, it doesn't fit Music style football. It's going to be more direct next season. You think hoofball's being played now, it's going to be played even more next season, but properly.
Yeah, but don't forget though, as we sort of discussed, on our sort of Music hoofball dissection, JB's a type of player that can also, as shown that on, in the Norwich game when he came on, can create that opportunity to take the ball and drive it forward and spread it wide and spread it forward. So, there's also that side of his game that can probably work. But whether or not Music has had to play him because of the pay, and as Graham Byrne just put in, evening Graham, can we pay Leeds to keep him off the pitch? I think that's the stat that was brought up on their show last night, and the stat that Steve put the last time we won with Randall and JB playing was Blackburn. It's interesting, and I think it's no coincidence. And he didn't start against Norwich. Houghton came in, and obviously we won that game. So you almost immediately have got to say, just based on that alone, even though looking at those FOTMob stats, he had the best rating, I think, looking at it, out of every other Argyle player.
So on the other side, then, based on the ones that do want to keep him, I still think for 1 million, it's worth a gamble, especially if we get relegated. I think that he's only 21. He's still got years ahead of him to improve. I think he needs to drop down another level to build his game up. Obviously, Muslich still picks him for a lot of the games. He still believes that he's the type of player that he wants in his system. But obviously, Randall, it doesn't work. Whether we go in for someone else in the summer, or maybe JB and Boateng could work together. But I think for 1 million, I think you've got to look at it. He gets in the England squad. Obviously, Leeds saw a lot in him to pay the 5 million in the first place. Yeah. We've signed Beidou for 1.7. We've signed Al Hajj for 700-800k. That's been a complete waste of money. So I think 1 million. I think it's worth another gamble.
What role does he play for England?
Yeah. Sorry, say again.
What role does he play for England? Does he play as a 10, or does he play out wide, or
I think he plays as a CDM, doesn't he? As he does for us. As far as I know.
I think he's more suited as an 8 or a 10, to be honest.
The best we've seen him play was actually under Ian Foster away to Middlesbrough when he was on the front 3 on the left. It was absolutely unplayable, that game. Absolutely excellent. Maybe he could play further forward. Maybe I don't know, but I think he's worth a risk.
So look, I mean, divided opinions, and that's it's more more than divided in terms of it's against him on PE's stats. So good little poll to put out there, PE, and and he's just said himself actually in the comments, out of 40 odd games, I can count on one hand how many good games he's had. Just runs around like a headless chicken the majority of the time. I think I'm going to say it's a little bit unfair. I'm going to pull up his stats overall. Will that give me it for? Oh, it's just that game, isn't it? Because minutes played 90. I'll come to it in a second. But yeah, I think it's too easy in this sort of up and down squad to sort of highlight a lot of weaknesses throughout. And when we look at the context of what 1 million is worth, it's really not much. And when I saw a comment on, I think it was on Free Chat, I don't deliberately go into the group on Facebook, but when some of the comments appear in my feed, and it's almost like, look at it, look what you've got to spend now. Sort of 1 million is really almost a starting fee in most cases. So it's, when we've considered what we played for Beidou and how, he isn't going to probably feature now until next season, Al-Haj, what he came in on, in some of these cases, 1 million actually isn't that much. And I think, for us as Argyle, it's a lot of money, but I think we have to come to the realization that it isn't a lot.
How much
So
Birmingham pay for Jay Stansfield?
Well, yeah, and that's and look, and it's got them up back into the championship.
Majority of those goals he scored this season have been penalties.
Yeah, but they'll be happy because they've got up. So regardless of how he scored the goals,
They've got to put the ball
they've
in
got
there.
the score back up there. Sorry,
You're still got to put the ball in the net, and that's what he's done.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, so I think for me, it's very much a case of whether this investment comes or not. That it could be a good investment. In a player that we can develop. Whether or not though Music wants him or not is another thing. So yeah, look, I don't want to dwell too much more on this game overall. To be fair, I'm just going to go back and check my notes.
You want to talk about number then? All right.
It's just let's just digest the stats. Please don't mention. Yeah, thank you. Voodoo says. Yeah, absolutely. Won't do that again. 70-30. So it's not the 75-25 like Norwich and where we've won recently. I think that was Kobe Budge who picked up on that the other day. But yeah, there's the stats. It's all rubbish. So
it's all false.
Let's come off that. So before we actually, I'll just come off the screen share a second and just bring us back to here. Just going to check my notes. So I'm going to switch it now to the press conferences before we do our thoughts on the Sheffield United game. Because like I said, I've said since the start of the show a few times, it's one of those games where it was just a disaster all round, and you just have to forget about it and hope that we can still try and muster something to give us a good bit of credibility before we go off into the new season in whatever league that may be. So the press conference, disappointed and frustrated Muslich. No signs that performance was coming. I mean, if you had any signs of that coming, you would be dealing with it anyway. Clearly it wasn't. There are nerves showing at the top and not just the bottom, referencing to sort of what could happen against Sheffield United. He did seem to hint that he's giving it until that game to sort of like probably pretty much accept it. Opportunity for Joe Edwards, that was discussed obviously with Sorinola out for the rest of the season. It will be good to see Joe back. How he falls back into full fitness in a game will be interesting. Beidou alluded to earlier, he feels really that we will not see him until next season is the vibe I got from that. He finished his last club in a full season. He said it was probably a bit too much. And I think we brought it up in one of the previous shows. I think probably psychologically the player has taken a lot of flack.
I think again there's a little bit of a dig to the club. Potentially sad to say, Jimmy, how that was handled, expecting him to come in and hit the ground running after the end of the season. Yeah. I don't think we'll be doing that again.
No, that's a good point, Carl. Yeah, he sort of did touch up on that a bit more. I mean, the press conferences on YouTube, if you want to go and see it on there in full, it's almost the expectation was huge on him to just come in and do that. So absolutely. Al-Haj, this was interesting. He said players are judged on performance, and Music is pretty much saying he's not there. He's not showing that, and he hasn't shown that in the games he's been given. So. Take that as you will, Rami Al-Haj. But that's pretty clear to me.
I mean, he's shown glimpses, hasn't he? He's scored a couple of goals. We've seen what he can do on the rare occasion, but he hasn't really been selected of late, has he? So he can't really show what he's.
But when he's come in is what I think Music was referring to, and he hasn't had any impact in the game whatsoever. And again, it's not. It might not be a player that's from Music's style. Steve, what were you going to say? Sorry.
He scored in his very first game. He come off a bench, didn't he?
Yeah.
Music sees him in training.
It's what? Sorry,
he sees him in training every day as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. And I think that's that's where there's obviously something just not happening there. Herbie, anything to add to that press conference and those points?
It just seems like there's a theme, isn't it? Where you say with Al Haj and with JB, we all say, we see glimpses of them, whereas actually we need players, we sort of need players that are sort of doing it almost every game. Maybe not the same thing every single game, but just having someone that drops a consistent 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 every game. Like, I only go to other teams here. So like Arsenal, I think Declan Rice has a 7 out of 10 every single game. And to have a player like that is incredible, because it just gives the whole team just a lot more confidence if one player is playing well and is just giving everyone the same sort of boost.
It lifts everyone up as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. We say Al Haj shows glimpses of it. Yeah, okay, he scored a couple goals. I think he scored a header against Oxford as well. He shows glimpses of having good games. JB, glimpses of where he's doing really good stuff. But end of the day, he's not doing it in a 3 or 4 game period. He's doing it in a 10, 20 minute, whereas we need a bit more from our players, I think.
Yeah, just too much inconsistency, isn't there? From a lot of players. You can sideline a few to a decent half dozen, but yeah, that's the sorry sort of state of our season so far. Just pulling up on the point I made about 1 million for JB, and Ninja Matt said, isn't Salah on 20 million a year now, signing his new contract 2-year extension with Liverpool? It's all right if you can get it, clearly. Fair play there. It was Hazard that did the players side of the press conference, and both of them really talking that opportunity is still there. They want to go out and actually show that wasn't acceptable, on Wednesday night. So look, we'll see what happens when it comes to tomorrow. That's for sure. Which sort of neatly brings me on to tomorrow. The Sheffield United game, what are they in the league now? Let me just go to the table. They're third now.
Burnley second now.
Yeah, so Burnley top on 88 points, Leeds on 85. Burnley, sorry, because Burnley are winning 2-0. Let me just bring the screen share back up.
Well, they're playing tonight, aren't they?
They're playing Norwich, so they're beating Norwich too. See, this is the funny thing, isn't it? I mean, the only result that we really didn't go our way was Derby not getting beat by Burnley, and yet this is a crazy thing with the way it is. Sort of Burnley now are 2-0 up against Norwich, who lost to us. I can't remember if they won or lost midweek, but they've got that chance to get in the playoffs, and now they are getting beat by Burnley 2-0, which is pitting them top. Leeds second, third with Sheffield United, and if I sort of scroll to the bottom, excuse me. There we can see, you can see the last 5 games of what's gone on there. Cardiff drawing a lot recently, Luton getting a couple of draws off the back of some wins. Derby sort of after the 3 wins on the bounce there, the defeat, a loss, and then a draw. Sorry,
I think it's clear to see now. I think we're all really playing for 21st spot. I think 2019 are gone, if I'm honest, especially for us.
Yeah, quite. Which ones are you saying are gone? Sorry,
2019.
Stoke and Hull. I mean, our goal difference, because it's 44, isn't it? So 4, 5, 6, 7 plus got 8 points. So we're really only capable of catching 21st.
We can do that.
It's gonna be interesting. Let me just show before we discuss a bit more on the game. So these are the games. That's the one at the top there. Look, Norwich, the Burnley Norwich one that's in play. So Leeds play Preston North End. Look, there we are. Cardiff play Stoke.
Stoke win.
But it just there's still a part of me. I know what you're saying just then, Carl, but just try and keep. If these teams get sucked into it, nerves are going to really kick in. Luton played Blackburn. Did they come back and draw in the end, or did they lose?
I think they drew, didn't they?
Who's that? Blackburn or Luton?
Luton. Oh, Blackburn came back and drew, but Luton drew as well, didn't they? I think.
Yeah,
but Blackburn were
2-0 down though.
They just lost their main striker, haven't they?
I don't know.
But I do know.
One of the guys that follow on TikTok that came onto our lives early doors.
I know he was missing for the home game down here. He was atrocious.
He left at half time when they were 2-0 down. So he walked out on the club. Millwall played Middlesbrough. Portsmouth played Derby. Yeah, it could be a really interesting one. That QPR Bristol City, Sheffield Wednesday play Oxford, Sunderland Swansea, and West Brom play Watford. So yeah, so then, gents, what are we thinking? So to start with, well, I might as well bring it up.
10, 20 minutes.
Actually, the lineup builder. I just put this one together.
10, 20
I'm not
minutes,
the best at this sort of
We
stuff,
need
but
to win.
well, with we need to win. Yeah, absolutely. The back line with obviously Soranola out and Katic out. I've slotted in there Pukac, Paulson, and Zooks, but go on. I'll go to you, Carl. Give some thoughts on what you did put into yours.
I'm going off the basis Pleggy's going to be fit because he's not completely ruled out, is he?
No, but
Pleggy in the middle, Such on the right.
Let's just say he didn't train. If they trained today, he didn't train today.
Knowing Pleggy, he'll put himself forward like he did when he was injured a few weeks back. So I'd highly like to see him play. So Pleggy in the middle, Such on the right, and Paulson on the left. Wing backs of Edwards and Pukac. Midfield, I'd like to see Boateng come in. I don't know if it will happen or not. Boateng and Randall, and then Hardy. I'll drop Bundu for TJ, and then have Asaka on the left.
Okay, so Boateng hasn't been on the bench, and the last two games.
He's not injured.
No, he's not. But in a chance, I can't see. This is just my view. Obviously, I can't see Muslich changing anything too drastically by bringing someone in like Boateng.
Well, I think he needs to clearly.
Well, yeah, but you say that, but I've gone for Houghton back in with Randall based on what how well we did at the start of the game, and obviously what the stats are sort of alluding to. Because while there's still a possibility, I don't think he can take too many risks, and he's got to go with the players that have been in the squad. And
I think that's the problem. He hasn't been taking the risks. That's why we're struggling.
I just can't
look
see
at it
him
both
doing
ways,
it.
can't you?
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, you can. I just can't see him bringing a player on that he's clearly left out off the bench that isn't injured for the past two games. But so you would drop Bundu for TJ, yeah?
Yeah.
So if I can find him, there he is.
I think at this point you have to give him a shot. Bundu's been quite quiet of late as well, personally.
Yeah, and then Malachi Boateng, you said, didn't you? And you would go with a back three of. So you'd have Pleggy. Who would you have in the middle? Sorry,
Pleggy if fit.
Yeah, if fit. Yeah,
Paulson on the left, Suits on the right.
Let me type in his. There we go. Yeah,
Julio
and Suits on the right. Did you say and who on the left?
Paulson,
yeah. Paulson, I thought was really good when he came on.
I think under Muslich, he's been impressive, personally.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, since Rooney went and he was called in, I think he's done well. In fairness to him, let me just check on. Mumba and Edwards, are those two?
No, Edwards and Pukac.
Pukac, right? Yeah. Timote, and you
Asaka.
Would you have what?
Asaka.
Oh, okay.
Playing right is absolutely pointless at this point. He's not. He doesn't give any goal threat at all.
No, but I know obviously your comments in the chat during the game, but I felt like even again, and it might well be that him and JB can be used then as those impact subs, but he was definitely very, very good when he came on. Again, it's confidence, isn't it? If the team are doing well, every player naturally does well. Else you wouldn't be winning your games.
No.
Just want to pick up on a couple of comments before I go to someone else. Pete saying, when it comes to recruitment next season, would you go for more foreign players, or should we go for players similar to what Wrexham have done, who already know the league and how to get out of it?
Yeah, let's sign Dansko and Callum Burton back.
Yeah. Why don't we go get Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck as well? Disney, isn't it? It is Disney, isn't it?
It's a great question. To be fair, I think
Gillespie.
It all depends on, I think on what they're thinking already, ahead to next season. There will definitely be, as Gavin, sort of pointed out last live, there will be that, championship view and the League One view of plans already started. So I don't know really. We've said before in a few shows, haven't we, that, could he go and raid Cercle Bruges a bit more and all this sort of stuff, but you've got to say to it, I mean, Katic and Maxi, if you look at the players that he has brought in, Maxi and Katic have done superb superb. The only one that hasn't is Malachi Boateng for whatever reason. So Herbie, what are you changing with your lineup?
I don't know. Generally, I'd go to back four with a lack of centre backs. So if say for example it is Such and Powson, I would change it to a back four. With Such and Powson, obviously. Right back, I'd probably have Edwards.
So put Edwards here. Let me try and do this quickly. Not Marcus Edwards. So you'd have Such, because of the suspected thingy there. I spelt that right. There he is. And then Edwards on the. Sorry, who on the left?
I'd probably put Ogbetter on the left.
Yeah.
So have I got your back four right there? Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. And then obviously Randall and Boateng in midfield.
Yeah.
Puach on the left.
Yeah.
And I'd put Mumba back on the right. And then I'd have TJ and Hardy up front. I don't think we played with two strikers this season. No. Yeah, have we played?
Not from the start, I don't think, have we?
Yeah, and you talk about like he's not taking risks. So I think right now is probably the best time to do it, because if we take a risk, it doesn't work.
It just depends. My biggest concern is whether or not they will all have played that sort of, especially if you change your lineup like this. Will they have had any training to play to that sort of setup?
Yeah, but if a 4-4-2, I think is you don't really need to have that sort of mentality to play it. It's a very simple footballing formation. There's not much tactics going into it. A 4-4-2, you've got four defenders and four midfielders, so already that's quite compact. And then I think TJ and Hardy, if you just long balls into Hardy for him to chase, he can make you a chance, especially with Mumba and Puach. Obviously, Puach can swing crosses. Mumba can obviously take players on down the line. With your two left mids and right mids, I think it will work as well. But yeah, as you say, we've not played 4-4-2, but at this point, if it doesn't work out, it's a risk. What have we got to lose, really? Almost.
Yeah, just still a chance for survival. Isn't that right, Andy?
Yeah, definitely. The only sort of I mean, why not? We got a chance. When we got a chance, we got a chance. I was going to say that until we mathematically can have a chance. Do you want my sort of squad?
Yeah,
now?
go on.
Right. So obviously,
how would you line up?
Right, so I've put down, and you probably laugh at this because I've got no idea about tactics or anything, but I'm going to go 4-3-1-2. Right, and I'll tell you why.
There isn't one there.
There is. Oh, there is.
Oh, was there?
4-1-3-2, do you say?
So I'd go for a back four, Zooks out on the right, Palsson and Pleguezuelo, if fit, in the middle, and then I'd have Ogbetter at left back.
So you'd have Ogbetter left back, and who else with who in the middle? Sorry,
Pleguezuelo, if fit.
Yeah,
and Palsson.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So I think Palsson more central is more solid central. I don't know about on the right or left or anything. In the three in front of them, I would have Randall, and I know I've said Randall and Houghton that work together. They do work together, and I'd have Mumba in that position on the just to the left of them.
Right. Yeah.
And then in behind, I'd have Isaka. Just to put the fear of God at them and run at them. And then up top, I'd have Bundu and Hardy.
Yeah, I don't think you can drop Bundu and Hardy. That's sort of it's the Obafemi is the one for me. Sort of obviously you're picking a Zaka in there.
I want to see Obafemi play for us again, mate.
Yeah, well, I mean, he wasn't great on Wednesday, but was great against Watford. Was okay. I wouldn't have said much more than that against Norwich. But
what Bundu brings is a target man. He's a target man, and what Hardy brings, he gets on the end of the ball and puts the ball in the back of the net. We've seen it time and time in the last few games. Yeah,
and just picking up on a couple of the comments. Voodoo just checking you're all right, Carl. In relation, I love that emoji.
I don't think he likes TJ very much.
No, Graham. Graham saying, "When's Maxi back? Heard he's not as badly injured as first thought." No, he did. We mentioned it in the news earlier. Graham, he should be back for the last 3 games. Had a bit of a PR gym session video put out to accompany that as well. Marcus just saying, next with all these names of earlier, we just said who should come back. We'll be asking for Luke Jepcott. Voodoo saying, I think we can throw training out the window at this point. Yeah, absolutely. I think if we just mix it up too much, it could against a team that if they turn it on could really embarrass us. And then Pilgrim Petey to yours, Andy, saying what a lineup. Andy's a bit like me though. When
I'm not tactically minded. I just look at players and
No.
who are effective for us.
Exactly. I'm going to come off from doing too much with the lineups now. So, what are we
4,
on?
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, do you know what? I wondered if we were going to make an hour, and we have. So, considering that, and the audience, thank you everybody who's joined us tonight as well. It's more than I thought because of the mood, but probably good that we left it till tonight. Couldn't do it last night on a normal slot because it was my son's birthday, and he asked me not to go on, and so I said I would do, and I'd leave it till tonight. So, and Gavin hasn't been feeling great tonight, so that's why he's not joined us. For those that were looking forward to the rugby isms from him. So good with that. But yeah, so score predictions then, and I won't forget to do myself tonight. And I just add, in music style, I'm trying one of these new Fanta Tutti Fruities.
Oh, where did you get that from?
If anybody from the Rangers listening own bargains, hopefully they're not. It was 69p or something. Taste that. I'm not a zero sugar fan. I absolutely am addicted to my Red Bulls and Coca-Cola originals.
From where, Mike? The Range, or where did you say you got it from?
I said I hope no one from the Rangers listening because I bought it in own bargains. Okay. But I saw it there. I saw it there at the till. 0 sugar, and is actually very, very good. I wish I bought more now. So Steve, what are you thinking? Score prediction, and guys in the comments, those that are listening, watching, please give us your predictions. I'll read them out. Steve, what are you going with?
I'm going for a 2-1 win, but I'm going 4-3-2-1. Basically, because I didn't get my team yet, but
that was a program in the 70s, wasn't it?
It was Hazard, Pukac, Katic, Paulson in Edwards, Houghton in Randall in midfield, Izaka right, Hardy and Bundu up top.
Right, okay.
Katic won't be fit, will he?
Paulson in suits. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, good pickup. So you did you say 2-1, Steve? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Herbie, what are you going with scoreline?
I think probably at halftime it'd be 0-0, but just the depth that Sheffield United have, that it will probably end up being 2-0 Sheffield United, and I reckon Kiefer Moore will probably be a thorn in our side. Like, obviously, because we've got like quite small defenders now, we won't have the aerial threats of like Katic and Maxi. I can see him getting a header, so I reckon it would be 2-0 Sheffield United, I think.
Fair enough. Ninja Matt saying, always a pleasure, guys. Well done as always. Haven't finished yet, Matt. Jesus, slow down.
Yeah, come on, Matt.
We're nearly there.
Bedtime yet, mate? Surely.
We're nearly there. I can never bet against us, even if it might be obvious. But go on, Andy, your prediction.
Right, you're probably going to think I'm nuts, but I'm going to go 2-0 to Argyle. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. No nuts in our ice buns, though. Behind
no nuts in our ice buns.
Just adding. Carl, go and give us your predictions.
To end on a positive note, I'm going to go for Argyle 0, Blades 4. Okay, I think they're going to be well up for it tomorrow, especially if Burnley win tonight.
I think that's where I think it will make them a bit more like edgy. We'll obviously Leeds getting the win as well out of the 3 of them on Wednesday or on those Tuesday, Wednesday games. I think they'll be, a bit more sort of edgy. They'll expect, and people expect them to come and hammer us. Burnley obviously did that, with the changes that went on at that time of music's coming in. But I just don't. I don't know. I don't know. I never bet on us losing. That's just what I just don't do that. So, but I'm gonna say a 1-0 win, and it's gonna be under the most immense pressure. But we're gonna just sneak a counter. That's gonna get a Hardy's and gonna bury. And
Cooper
we'll
own goal.
say again.
Michael Cooper own goal.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's it.
89th-minute penalty for Hardy to score against Cooper.
Yeah, that would be that will certainly be interesting. Pilgrim Petey is Ben Collins. Evening, Ben. Ben, by the way, folks, has received his Block 9 mugs. It was Ben who ordered them. I did wonder.
Well done, Ben.
He did message me on TikTok, because that's where we tend to engage. He got them the other day. So, and you can get your mugs. He did go
oil
for
mug.
Phil Collins.
Oil
Phil
mug.
Collins.
Yeah, and we've got the standard one without any of our mugs on it.
Nice.
So they are on the website. Visit theblock9.co.uk. I don't think anybody's still knocked Ninja Matt off, and I'm not going to give him the pleasure of seeing it again either.
I'm not going to even attempt to be that score.
I've attempted several times this week, and I get nowhere near it.
I must admit, I've had 10 minutes or so trying to do it. So that's our championship shootout game, if you're wondering, on the block9.co.uk website. But Ben's going for either a 1-0 Argyle win or a 6-0 defeat to the Blades. Marcus also said about Hardy versus Coops on a penalty tomorrow. What are the odds? Pilgrim Petey has gone with Argyle 1, Sheffield United 3. Graham hasn't put in a score, and he's just like, "No, we're done. Sorry." So,
Graham, where's your faith, man? Where's your faith? Come on.
Yeah, I can. I can totally get that, Graham. And Ninja Matt has gone with 3-2 to Argyle. I nearly went with 3-2, but I just don't know. I don't feel that confidence. And he put last minute winner for Wright off his arse. However it might go in. We don't care, do we? Obviously, yes, it is Cooper. Did have that in my notes to obviously pick up on, but yeah, Cooper is back, and I'm sure you get a very warm welcome back home. He has kept 19 clean sheets. I did pull up his stats. 19 clean sheets, only conceded 29 goals, saved 1 out of 4 penalties, FOTMOB rating of 7.4. In the 39 matches that he's played.
And do you know, it's going to get some people on X, right, who are saying we shouldn't applaud him, we shouldn't, it should be saying, well, he's one of our own. Why not? He's one of our own, for goodness sake. Yeah. Come on.
You absolutely have to just ignore the fact that if you're in a position to set yourself up for the rest of your career, because they don't have obviously a long career in the game. So if you can get a really big club because you're very good at what you do and you can earn yourself a good wage off the back of it. And yes, I know we probably let him go too cheap and all this sort of stuff. Look, we don't know what might happen if they go up and what we'll get off the back of it. But you cannot fault a player who just is going to better themselves at the end of the day. It does bring me on, actually. Ian, who's a regular watcher as well, did watch the Neil Dewsnip interview. I don't know if any of you guys have, but there's a couple of points that I asked him in the chat, on how that went, and he said he just pointed out how Rooney impressed in the interview. We lost Cooper straight away, lost the eight first team through injuries. How the budget and geography bugger up Argyle. There's probably a little bit of sour grapes in some of that as well, but at the end of the day, if you want to go and watch it, watch it. But the net result is he's no longer our director of football, and who will come in and replace him down the line, we'll soon find out.
David Freo, please.
Yeah, he's got that experience, hasn't he? So in that sort of role. So it'd be interesting. I think the club will absolutely, and probably right to do so, will wait until the end of the season, and I'm sure candidates are on the shortlist already, if not being interviewed. There we go, folks. So we went on for a little bit longer than I thought we would do, but sometimes actually talking about Argyle isn't all that bad even after a big defeat, is it? God. Let's see what happens tomorrow anyway. So Steve, Herbie, Andy, Carl, thank you for your company tonight. We will be back on Sunday at the normal time of 6:30, just after the F1, which is my next big thing. That starts at 4 on Sunday, so I'm looking forward to that. So let's see what happens tomorrow. The sun hopefully will still shine on Home Park and deliver us another good Saturday result as Kyle plays with his Mac effects. So, yeah, everybody, thanks for joining us. Please go and like and subscribe and follow us all if you want to get more of our views. You really don't, do you? Go on, like and subscribe the channel, and then we'll catch you next time. So, evening, everybody. Thanks for coming along.
Thanks for coming.